A big concern of mine was trade buyers coming in and poaching staff during the diligence process. And I was also concerned about what would happen to the company post-sale and actually the emotional impact of handing over our business.
Concerns at the start of the process, I'm sure, would differ. Ours was much more about how much will it cost if we don't find a buyer or investor, where we'll find the extra time needed. What will customers, staff and suppliers think?
My main concerns were, is the company going to lose its identity and be swallowed up by a bigger entity? Are the people who helped grow the business going to be given a chance in the new company and taken care of?
We selected the buyer because we felt that the strategic fit was right and that they wanted to keep the whole business intact. Selling the business was emotional, and it was very important knowing that the company and staff would be looked after.
Because we'd created and grown the business, it felt important to hand over the business to someone who would not only look after it, but would also continue to develop it and its legacy. Our values were something that were really important to us. They were our guiding principles, and we felt our buyers had the same principles and the same aspirations for the company as us, so a perfect match.
We went with a buyer that could deliver the overall aspiration of the business, which in our case was to create a global cleanroom brand for our global client base. This would give employment and development opportunities for the team.
Ultimately, our buyer needed us to expand their offering, and we were able to offer something they wouldn't have been able to develop organically. Our niche is really what attracted the buyer. We also had a strong element of recurring revenue, which we developed with RSM's guidance. All that made us particularly attractive to the buyer.
Factors that attracted buyers was simply growth of 30% per year. A market had growth forecast, a strong reputation, an amazing professional, competent team.
The only thing that really surprised me was the lack of surprises, and that was undoubtedly due to the extensive preparation and the regular communication with RSM. It meant that we were very ready for the transaction, and that made the process pretty smooth.
There were several things that were not straightforward. Primarily, as we were selling to a US-based buyer, and the way they do deals is slightly different to the norm in the UK. When these came up, it was about being pragmatic and looking at the bigger picture.
The wider market reaction was positive. Everyone could see the logic behind the sale. Employees were initially worried about the buyer and what their intentions were, but we were diligent when picking the buyer, and we reiterated that to the staff to help ease the tension. Many employees who'd been at the business for a significant period of time were also part of the EMI scheme, so they were able to benefit from the sale as well.
Post-deal, the reaction was 99% positive, which is really down to the openness, trust we developed. Both of us came from humble beginnings and worked hard to achieve our success.
The planning was key to this as well. Deciding who to tell first was a bit of a minefield. We needed to tell key customers and suppliers before the press releases went out. Obviously, we told our team before we told anyone else, and communication and its timing were important. We didn't want anyone to feel like they'd been forgotten about.